This episode is brought to you by our friend at Bored Elon Musk, one of the largest and funniest parody accounts on Twitter. And fun fact, Elon Musk's mom actually follows this account.
Oh.
And she only follows 15 accounts, so that's pretty amazing. Thanks Bored Elon.
That's
So if you get into a car accident and you're like, oh God, you're giving into the dark side?
No, but if you beat the shit out of the guy, you are.
Nerd On.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Nerd On, the podcast you didn't need but you deserve, where all level nerd.
Yes.
I did it. I pulled a Tom. No.
Yes.
I'm gonna keep it. You know what? Keep it.
No.
I'm
Fuck it, we're going live.
We're doing it live. Where all level
Yes.
of nerds are welcome.
Do it. All levels.
I am Obi-Wan Kenobi here as your host. We're gonna go around.
Ollie, and I hate sand. It's coarse and it just gets everywhere.
It does get everywhere in all the cracks and crevices. It's bad. I'm Josh, and I am a scruffy nerf herder.
Who you calling scruffy looking?
Me.
This is Tom, but I like to go by Tom Solo, and Corey's in my passenger seat as Corey Baca.
I would gladly take that.
Yeah.
Corbaka.
Today we are talking about the original Star Wars trilogy.
Yes, we
None of that
are.
prequel stuff, none of that Force
Nope.
Awakens stuff, none of that.
No.
We're just the original three, the
Yes.
OG 3. And we wanted to kind of discuss what we love, what we don't like, what we still carry with us, what shaped us as humans because of those
Yeah.
movies.
Why
How
I
many-
grew out all my fur.
How many different days I spent in the backyard trying to lift rocks with my mind. No
Yeah.
big deal.
No big deal. It's okay.
But yeah, so let's kind of bust into this. Where do we want to start?
How about let's talk about when we first watched it?
Yeah.
I'm down with
Okay.
that.
I mean, when did it come out? Because, you know, I'm the young one in the room.
Yeah.
Right?
77?
Oh, no.
Oh, rough start, guys.
So my first memory of it was just having the trilogy, the box trilogy set,
Yeah.
where like they're in the little cardboard sleeves, and then on the first one you had the face of, what was it?
I know that Darth Vader was one of the faces.
I think
It's
Darth
not like
Vader's
the
the first
gold
one,
border
and then
ones?
Empire, and then the Stormtrooper was the second one for Empire Strikes Back, and then Yoda was Return of the
Oh,
Jedi.
you're talking
Yeah.
about those Blu-rays.
No,
No.
this is the VHS.
Really?
The original
I think
VHS
mine had
box
those.
trilogy.
Yeah.
with
I had the
with little
gold
sleeve.
edition box.
This is black.
Oh,
This is
okay.
before gold was even a color. Okay, this is the original one.
It
Okay,
is 77.
Yes, nailed it.
77,
77.
80, and 83.
for everyone at home playing the home game.
Corey
So
nailed it.
that was my first memory of it, was that my dad just put it on the TV, had the VHS, and put it in there, and we watched it.
Shout out to your
And
dad.
Shout out to my pops. And we watched it, and it was funny because it was like one of the first few movies that wasn't Arnold Schwarzenegger and like Sylvester Stallone and like Disney stuff, and it was really interesting. And for me, it allowed me to kind of like really open my eyes to imagination and things like that, and kind of like, oh, there's aliens and stuff like that, and the puppets and everything.
Probably like your first intro to like real sci-fi.
Yeah, I mean, Back to the Future I think was for me, and then
But that's not
Star Wars.
I mean, yeah, it's sci-fi, but it's not like
Space,
Like Space Wizards.
yeah.
Space Wizards.
And so, yeah, I mean, I guess in a way where it's like that became what I thought of space. Star Trek never really became a thing for me, so it was always just Star Wars. So
Which versions were these?
these,
As far as like
Well, back
George
then,
Lucas
yeah,
and
it was-
I'm pretty sure these were the OG original.
Okay.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back then, they
That's
didn't
fair.
have the
well, they
what
had
we won't
one
talk about.
they did in 90. What was it, like 95 or something like that? Where
Talk
he
about
did
the
like
rough start guy.
little touch-ups and stuff like that.
I'm pretty sure there's no touch-ups on it because I remember this is me being like a spoiled kid. I hated every part I saw of Yoda because I thought Yoda would just look so fake, and I was like, "Ugh, get over it, get past it." And as a young kid, I didn't actually really appreciate Empire Strikes Back at all.
Oh wow.
And I really liked
Wow.
Return of the Jedi
Okay.
because I felt like,
But I can see why a kid might like Jedi a bit more.
yeah. I mean, we'll go into it and talk
Ewoks.
about the
I
entire
was gonna say
trilogy.
he likes Ewoks.
Yeah.
We'll
I
talk.
just didn't want to say it.
You seem like an Ewok kind of guy.
Yeah, a little furry.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But that was it.
Different episode, Tom.
That was it. And I just remember me and my sister just watching Return of the Jedi all the time. That was her favorite. And, my sister was a big influence on my life and telling me what to do since she's the older sister.
Yeah,
And all.
she's why you wear dresses.
So your favorite when you were younger was Jedi?
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
I dig it.
Josh.
I mean, of course, I didn't see it in the theater. I wasn't even a twinkle in my daddy's eye. But I do remember the same. I had the VHS. I do remember that my family, they were big Star Wars fans. And so anytime a new box set would come out. So I remember there was a gold set, there was a silver set.
Gold one was the one I had.
But I did have that original set that was black. It had the faces on the sides.
Yeah.
So I do remember those, and man, brings back memories when you had to rewind things, and
I got those years later.
yeah.
Which is it's funny because I remember watching that movie, and then you know how they had the scrolling titles and all that stuff, and it was such a big deal how they didn't have opening credits.
Yeah.
And that became such a big thing in the industry. Actually, it was a huge controversy that it was one of the movies in that time frame that didn't have opening credits. So
Is that right?
yeah,
Interesting. Just had the scrolling text.
yeah. So he got a lot of flack for that actually.
So I don't remember like a specific that's my Star Wars memory, but I just do remember that we had those box sets. And,
There you go.
Yeah.
Ali, sir?
Yeah. I think I saw A New Hope when I was younger. I can't really remember though. That's the thing. I don't know.
It's a blur. His childhood is a blur.
My childhood was filled with TMNT, Batman, and Inspector Gadget,
And a home movie theater.
and Disney movies on rerun, and a home theater. Well, that was in like high schoolish.
Oh, okay.
But the first time I really saw movies, or those movies, were in the theater when they were re-released. I forget what year it was, but
Okay,
when they
definitely
were
in the 90s.
Yeah. My uncle took us, me and my brother, to the
Shout out
theaters.
to your uncle.
Shout out to my uncle. Huge shout out to my uncle, actually. Because I
For
think
sure.
I might have mentioned him before, but he was the one that showed me, I think, my first rated R movie, Species. Same uncle. He would take us to the movies all the time. And he still does. We still go to movies where we have tickets for Last Jedi coming up.
Nice.
But yeah, it was
Cool. I like
that was
traditions.
Yeah, traditions carry over forever. But yeah, that was when I saw it first.
Nice.
I like that. Mine is with my grandma, actually, Grandma Diane. Shout out to Grandma Diane. My mom and dad both worked when we would come home from school. They'd be at work. So
My parents worked.
My grandparents would pick us up. And that was the first place I saw it. She used to play us movies while we did homework or after we did homework. And she was the first one to throw on Star Wars. And then I eventually...
And this was the box that you're talking about? The gold one? Or?
This was not that box. This was the original versions. But she, for Christmas,
Mine were
got
the original
me,
versions, bro.
I
I'm
know.
telling you.
I believe you. I just didn't see them because they weren't mine. They were hers. I don't know what they looked like. She would just put them in while I did homework.
They were probably black boxes.
Probably had Vader, a stormtrooper, and Yoda on the last one.
I'm telling you.
But it's
really heated
Christmas
about
of
this.
'97 was when she got me. I think that's when the gold editions came out, the special editions.
Yeah.
She got me the box set of that. But I just remember being there and watching it. When I was young, my favorite was A New Hope because I fucking thought Obi-Wan Kenobi was the dopest dude in the whole world. He had the answer for everything
Because he
all
is.
the time. Yeah, no, he is. Especially with Ewan. Not that we're talking about this, but Ewan McGregor killed it. But that I just have really fond memories of watching those movies at my grandma's house, doing homework with my sister, and she would always make us waffles. So it was a good time.
I remember getting those gold ones at Costco, I think. I don't know why I remember that detail, but I got them at Costco.
Because Star Wars is so great. You remember everything that inspires you and touches you.
And
Pretty
then later
much.
on, I found the black boxes at a yard sale. And they were really cheap, and they were in really good shape.
I'm really jealous.
Yeah.
'Cause I can't find that anywhere now.
Yeah.
Without all the edits into it. But yeah, that's cool. I like that we all
Well,
have
it's really hard to find nowadays.
It is.
Like I have the Blu-ray set that has all of them, even the trilogy we won't talk about.
There's a
But
There are good parts to that. And
but
we'll
it's
do that someday.
it's they.
I'll defend those trilogy. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'll defend it.
I mean, here's the thing. I do actually have a good memory of when the Phantom Menace came out. Like I was a kid.
I saw
was a
Midnight
kid.
Release.
This isn't the prequel trilogy episode, but I remember the poster that came out with the with Phantom Menace, and you just see the kid and his shadow is Darth Vader. I was like, this is gonna be fucking amazing. This is so fucking dope. I was like, I didn't know what to expect.
And then you only got 5 minutes of screen time.
Do you wish you could go back in time and punch yourself in the face?
Let's wait. Okay, all right. We'll save it. We'll save it for another episode. I'm going to stop us there because we can go on forever about that.
Yes, we can.
But I want to talk about, now that we've all discussed where we watched it first, I kind of want to discuss, should we just stick to the trilogy, what we love about the original trilogy as like a whole, as an entirety, or do we want to do like saga as a whole? Like what about Star Wars do we love?
I mean, we could go into both. You can talk into both. I mean, like for me, Star Wars lightsabers. All day.
Lightsaber.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I remember like one of my first ever Christmases was like getting the green lightsaber toy, which had like these D batteries that like you felt like were shotgun shells.
It was
that
a
you put in the
weapon,
bottom.
dude. It was a full real weapon.
And the thing that I hated about the toy, even though it was amazing and it made great sounds and it didn't go all the way. I was like, I had the
little
green
like
one. Yeah.
half foot still stuck
I was
out
like,
at the end.
why couldn't they just make this go down all the way? And now
Because
like,
they had to have room for the fucking
the
light.
battery, yeah. And for me, I'm kind of just like, I'm just so jealous now of all the kids that like, you gonna make your own lightsaber in Star Wars? I was like,
You had two choices. You had green and red.
I know.
That was it.
It's basically a flashlight
I know.
with just some plastic on top of it that extends.
I remember that. I had both Vader's and Luke's from
And you know,
Return.
maybe that's why I liked Return of the Jedi, because I had the green lightsaber, and the green lightsaber is the one that Luke ended up having at the end. Because
That he made.
Yeah, I was like, okay, well, this is when he becomes dope.
How do you feel about the weird, like sharp lightsabers in Episode 3?
Sharp lightsabers in Episode 3.
Did you remember that? They were kind of
No.
like, they were like slightly tapered, and then at the end they kind of came to a point.
Were
Go back
those?
and-
Is that just a different design? Because I know in Clone Wars they made dark sabers.
all of them had it.
Oh, I mean, well, the thing about a lightsaber, going into the science of it, it's an arc, right? So
Yeah.
it's an arc beam, and I mean, like, it's just, I think, it just shows the technology of it.
Yeah.
It's like it's whatever.
But it's like Episode 3. I don't know. It's a whole thing.
I mean,
Whole
this-
other episode on
whole
that.
other
I mean,
episode.
this purple lightsaber. So
Yeah.
how that was created was ridiculous.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like if you ask somebody, "Hey, are you a Stones fan or are you a Beatles fan?" Very few do I meet in my life that are both. But this is, are you Star Wars or are you Star Trek?
Yeah.
I'm a Star Wars person. I have met very few people that have said, "Oh yeah, I like both." It's either Trekkie
but I mean,
or Star
even
Wars.
going even deeper into that, it's like, are you original trilogy or prequel trilogy fan? You know, like that's
Yeah.
like the deep, dirty, dark,
Are you
gritty.
talking about Star Wars, or are you talking about like Star Trek, where it's like, are you Captain Kirk or Picard type thing?
I think that's a crazy thing. I think that's an amazing thing just to talk about Star Wars as a franchise itself. Like years and decades upon decades in books and comics and TV shows and video games.
That are no longer canon.
I don't know longer can, but has made this
Disney.
universe so rich. And Corey, one of your favorite games is Knights of the Old Republic.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, just it's the three movies.
Give us what we want, EA.
Three
Give us
movies
KOTOR
expanded.
3.
Yeah.
Well, actually, what I think is what I'd like to bring up about the original trilogy is it's like, what's so amazing about it? Like the thing of my wife, everybody at home, she's older than me,
Shout out to
and
your
so
wife.
she saw them in the theaters.
Wow.
She is actually she's a big fan of Star Wars, and she has
We're a
told
fan
me,
of her then.
Yeah.
Because she has a heartbeat.
Yeah, exactly.
a
But
pulse.
she said that when those came out, they were mind blowing.
Yeah.
Like I know that we all got together and we watched some of them the other night together, and it's some things are laughable. Some things you're like,
Didn't hold
okay.
up.
And I think that's one of the reasons why I don't like seeing the ones that have been retouched, because if you put even the graphics or CGI back in the late 90s, early 2000s, even though back then we were like, holy shit, that's amazing. When you put that in a movie that's just all like scenic design and miniatures and puppets,
It stands out like a sore thumb.
yeah, and you're like, oh god damn it, why did
Doesn't
you do
fit.
that? Why would you
awful.
do that? But it is, when you look back at it, you're like, wow, that is so cool.
Yeah.
And I mean, the thing we talked about in the Stranger Things episode, like, there's so many things that it was inspired off of, like you know, like the lightsabers was like based off samurais, and you know, like everything
Vader's
in terms
design.
of it's not the first movie to be in space, but
Hell
the thing
yeah.
is, like, it combined all these great, awesome elements of like the Western and like samurai and like space travel and, you know, monsters, spirituality and all that stuff and it became more than the sum of its parts.
Well, and special effects that people had never seen before. I
Yeah.
mean, like, if you think about it, in our lifetime, we had that with The Matrix, right?
Yeah.
That blew our fucking minds to the point where, how many parodies did we see of that bullet time?
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That's what Star Wars was then. Like that, I remember my dad saw it. He snuck into a drive, shout out to my dad, drive through by getting into a trunk of a car and driving through.
And I mean, even like
And he was like, that was fucking crazy.
like Toy Story 2 made the whole like I am your father thing.
Yeah.
I was like, there's how many things have we heard I am your father? It's
yeah,
like,
exactly.
You go
So-
to most movie theaters, and you know how like here in LA they have a lot of. I mean, maybe this is everywhere, but movie theaters have like quotes on the walls, and you know, and a lot of them are Star Wars quotes.
Yeah.
you know, and it's like this series birthed so many things.
Yoda was like the mascot for any Scholastic book club you ever seen or anything. Like that.
Do or do not. There is no
Yeah.
try. You know, it's like
It's I mean, the writing was there. The actors, I mean, think about all of the main characters in that have
Yeah.
gone on to have very successful careers. Not only because they were lucky and got this one role, but because they're talented people and they were very cool and down to earth people. They weren't people who kind of let it get to
Yeah.
their heads either. So, you know, to see that too is kind of
I'm gonna throw like two things that we've talked about before. Joseph Campbell's hero's journey.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's-
Amazing. It follows it line by line, especially to me the part where the mentor dies. Spoilers for everyone that hasn't watched it. But yeah, when the mentor dies, that's a huge pivotal part of any type of hero
If you
journey.
haven't seen Star Wars, pause this. I know you own it. Throw it in the Blu-ray. Watch it.
If you don't, good luck finding it. And then kind of like we talked about before, like it's a world beginner and showstopper. You know,
Yeah.
like it gave birth to so much later on.
Yeah. And the stakes are so high throughout the entire thing, throughout
Yeah.
the entire
I mean,
trilogy.
Didn't like even like I mean I remember my film professor teacher talked about how like Ronald Reagan would compare like communism to like the evil empire. I was just like, geez, it infiltrated culture and politics. It was such a huge, massive thing, and now we're seeing the resurgence. We're seeing the resurgence of the new movies coming in and breaking box office like records left and right. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I think like one of the main reasons is this is probably why like A New Hope, you know, the original movie did so well, I think, is that for all of its fantasy,
You mean Star Wars?
yeah, Star Wars.
It was
Why
just
Star
Star
Wars
Wars. It was
did
just
so
Star
well.
Wars.
Star Wars proper did so well was because I think for all of its fantasy, like it somehow managed to like remain grounded and kind of like make you relate to the characters in a very like weirdly real way.
Yeah.
Like one of my what like the scene I'm thinking of is just like Luke looking out off into the sunset at the
Wanting
beginning.
Sunsets.
The binary sunset.
Wanting to go into the academy when he couldn't, and he
Right.
was like forced to be on this farm. Which you know, it's that dream. It's that, you know, you want a dream to go more and dream of the stars and dream of going out there. So
Right. So that it kind of, you know, I think that's one of the bigger reasons why.
Well, yeah, everyone can relate to that.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone wants that sense of adventure. Everyone, you know,
And the
it's a
change
story
of
of
the
someone
characters.
getting it.
And then you have the oppressive empire.
Yeah, the Communist Party.
Yeah.
Lay
in
off,
space.
Dad.
But yeah, but the journey of the characters, you know, it's like if you look at Luke Skywalker at the beginning, I mean, he is such a wuss. I mean,
a little whiny
he said,
bitch.
this is my
like you said before, he's a little whiny bitch.
he's a little whiny bitch, and like this is my favorite scene from all of Star Wars, only because it makes me laugh.
Okay.
Is when they're deciding on the droids, and his uncle is like, "Oh, you're gonna have to do this," and he goes, "But I was gonna go to the Tashi station to pick up some power converters."
Oh yeah.
Almost exactly like that, and you're like, "Oh God!"
And then he does that cadence again later. Shut off all the track smashers in the detention level. Shut off all the track smashers in the detention level.
Yeah, and you're like, "Oh God, he's such a whiny
Jesus.
bitch." And then like we were watching the other night, Return of the Jedi, and we're all looking at each other, going, "Man, Luke Skywalker."
Yeah. Like Squawkwalker is just being a bardoz.
Yeah.
He's
was
a total
the-
badass.
just slinging his
Total
dick
badass.
left
like
and right.
he's chained up. He's on a plank over a pit, and he's like, "Look, last chance.
I don't want to have to hurt you.
What?
Yeah.
You fucking crazy bastard."
And then you have Han Solo, who's this selfish bastard at the beginning, and then at the end, he's like,
He's in love.
he's in love, and he's gonna help and all that kind of shit. So it's like, and then Leia's just, oh God, Carrie Fisher.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean,
Carrie Fisher's bae through her
Yeah.
whole
Oh,
life. I don't care
absolutely.
how old she was.
Yeah.
I would have wanted to hang out with her no matter what.
Yeah.
I think it's a little interesting. I mean, I'm assuming we've all watched it when the entire trilogy was out. And so
Yeah.
for me, at least, I was able to watch them in succession. And I was able to easily see like this arc that happened with Luke's character. And it was just like, whiny little bitch. I'm figuring out things, what's going on. I'm becoming more powerful and I'm being cocky now. I got my ass handed to me and then now I'm a badass. And like, I can do it, but I don't want to do it. I want to be a badass. And now he has like the weight of the world on his shoulders. So it's like very easy to do that when like, now we're seeing things that happen in kind of the same trilogy sense where it's like sometimes the character development over an arc kind of gets lost because things are so susceptible within those 2 years or 3 years that the movies are separated from.
Like car accidents.
We're going right to hell.
Jeez.
And facial reconstruction.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Whoops.
But I mean,
Oopie.
that's a funny thing that you brought up because I remember like, so funny story. In preparation of watching of doing this episode, I was really trying to look for like a streamable version I could watch online or something like that. And there's so many different versions and all that stuff. And you kind of want to like preserve the experience of watching it before I might calling my dad like, Dad, can you like send me these VHSs?
Overnight them.
But then you follow
You gotta
these,
buy a VHS player, and then it's a mess.
you go up on these forums and you find like so many people have like gathered together and created this like forum of like this despecialized version, and it's like ridiculously like hard to find. But I end up falling along this like weird column of like how during the time of between New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, the whole car accidents thing with Mark Hamill and how his had to get facial reconstruction, part of his cartilage had to go into his nose and all that stuff. Like a lot of people had questions of like if the script was rewritten because of his face, because the whole Wampa scene. Where and George Lucas will say like no, and a lot of people and Carrie Fisher's like yes. So there's a big debate of like
it's a
what
huge
really
debate
happened.
about it. I was reading about that for like hours the other night. It was one of those like Wikipedia dark holes that I went down and just followed links where I was like, suddenly they're like, and this type of hair was used on the Wampa costume. I was like, how did I end up here?
But the thing is that these articles are made within the last 2 years. And it's like,
really?
it's, I mean, like, it's just crazy that like, hey, if you didn't remember like this, there was a huge controversy between these movies. It's like 30, 40 years later, like
it's never going to die.
Yeah, these are
not.
huge. And I think that's like just kind of speaks to itself as like the, the whole weight of Star Wars in itself.
Yeah. Because, I mean, it's very obvious that something happened between those two films. If you look at pictures side by side.
I kind of like, I didn't see too much. As a kid, I was like,
as a kid,
whatever.
you don't notice at all.
No.
But as I'm older, I'm like, what happened to the left side of your face? Not that it matters.
No.
Because I'm a huge Mark Hamill fan.
Mark Hamill's amazing.
Huge.
I love Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
If he wants to be on the show, that's fine.
What am
That'd be
I?
If you're
fine.
listening and you
Mark
know
Hamill.
Mark, come
One of
on,
my
send him our
idols.
way.
More for his
Shout out
other
to Mark
stuff.
Hamill.
More
Yeah.
for his other stuff.
Believe it or not.
Yeah, actually, that's
Namely
that's
Joker.
pretty- I actually saw. You know what made me mad? Like this was probably like 5 or 6 years ago. There was a video of like Star Wars actors. Where are they now? And they talked about how like Han Solo. Jesus, I was just gonna call him Han Solo.
Because that's who he is. Or Indiana Jones.
Harrison Ford is the only one with a career, and I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Do you know what Mark Hamill does for a living?" But
Well,
yeah,
those are
but
those
are
plebeians.
interesting.
That
Now,
have the cheap
now that we've
seats.
kind of talked
But
about,
they're welcome here too.
They are always welcome here.
we're talked about. Well, not the ones that say Mark Hamill doesn't have a career. Sorry, guys, excluding just a little bit.
Wow.
Grandpa
we just found
Corey.
our
That's
first
where I draw the
exceptions.
line.
Grandpa
We just
Corey.
found our first rule.
So, first rule of Nerd On, Mark Hamill has a career.
Yeah.
I want to talk about which out of the trilogy we love, because we kind of talked about the ones we liked as kids. Like you like Jedi, I liked New Hope.
As a kid.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, as kids. But I want to talk about now that we are, refined in our film
Caravan
consuming.
of Courage. Or Battle for Endor.
Oh
no?
my God.
No, I like the Christmas special.
I was gonna say, what's a Christmas special?
Yikes.
I'd like to talk about the films that we enjoy now, and anyone can start this off. Just jump in.
The what?
The film, which out of
how
the
about
three
you
is
then,
our
Corey?
is our favorite?
How about you begin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
it's Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
110% Empire Strikes Back.
Por qué?
For me, the story is the most interesting. I'll be honest, Return is probably my least favorite out of all of them. I like Luke in that a lot.
What do you have against Ewoks?
Everything. They're just shittier
Zub, zub,
Chewbacca's.
jubba, jubba.
But in that one, you get a lot of Han and Leia's story. You get a lot of Luke's story with Yoda and Obi-Wan, and that you've got the fucking classic. No, I am your father. Just badass. Like the whole movie from start to finish, I was on the edge of my seat, even watching it now.
Okay.
I agree.
Yeah.
Same. I think I like those middle chapter movies. You know,
Dark Knight.
You would.
Dark Knight.
It's so rich. It's just rich.
Well, because the thing is, you get all the exposition out of the fuck
there's no
out of the
exposition.
way.
Exactly.
Right.
You just get to play with the characters starting
Exactly.
like Winter Soldier, baby. It's like, oh,
How
Yeah.
quickly in Empire does he get attacked by the Wampa? Like 3 minutes, 4 minutes
Immediately.
in? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's no wasting any time.
I think they're just like the most character character development and like character exploration.
yeah.
I think is also important, especially with
Yeah.
Luke.
And it's when you see Vader and his helmet, right?
See Vader. Yep.
Putting on his helmet.
Like so many iconic things from the entire saga
Yeah.
are from
Introduce the Mr.
are from
Smooth
the
Empire.
Lando.
asteroid field. The
The
asteroid
asteroid
field where
field.
the worm comes up and bites.
Yeah.
I do have one qualm with Empire real quick. I want to get out there. Why the
Yeah.
fuck is Lando wearing Han Solo's entire outfit at the end of that film? He's flying the Millennium Falcon and he's got the white shirt and the vest.
Their
bugs me.
bromance runs.
Because Lando could do whatever the fuck he wants to do.
That's
He has spares. It's like
Billy D. Williams can do anything
if
he
you
wants.
open
got a
Han
closet.
Solo's closet,
Yeah,
You
it's,
can even
it's
call
the
him
same
Han.
outfit over and over
Han.
again.
He
You can call him
Han.
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 But
Han
yeah,
Solo.
there's a lot of. I like you made a really good point. There's a lot of iconic things when people think Star Wars. It's all from
You got the walkers.
Empire.
You know,
Yep.
Yeah.
The Walkers. Battle of Hoth.
Battle of Hoth.
The arm getting chopped off. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All that.
So that's that your vote too?
Yeah.
And then what's the thing that gets chopped open and he stuffs Luke's into?
The Tauntaun?
Tauntaun?
Yeah. The Tauntaun scene's still parodied to this day.
It's pretty good, right? It's not too bad.
Yeah.
You got
I
the-
watched Bill Hader do it once.
You got the
Now
I
can do
love
it.
you. I know.
I know.
I know.
You got
Yeah.
Boba Fett.
You got
You're gonna get in there.
Boba Fett.
Carbonite.
Not the version where they redubbed his lines.
Yeah.
So good.
Boba Fett.
So good, man.
Most useless badass.
You know what?
He is such a
My
useless
favorite
badass.
moment from that movie is, and there's a meme about this too, is when they're going to dinner, right? You know what I'm talking about?
Go ahead.
Lando invites him to dinner, and there's this meme that's like, picture this. You're in Cloud City with your best friend Lando and your girl Leia. She's looking good, real good. You think you're about to go have some dinner, enjoy some stuff, and then go back to your room with her hotness. But the door's open and there's Vader. What does Han do? He doesn't look at Lando coyly. He doesn't turn and run away. He just starts fucking shooting. We should all be more like Han. And I agree. I love that. I love that they did that with his character because it's very like he could
shot
give a
first.
funny look.
He always shoots
He
first.
always shoots. Thank you.
He always
There's
shoots
the
first.
proof. Vader's just sitting there without a second's hesitation.
Nope.
He whips that
Yep.
pistol off
Nope.
and shoots 4 or 5 times
Yeah.
before he pulls it from his hand.
I saw another one
Badass.
that was Vader standing at that table, and it was something like, all he did was make turkey dinner.
That's pretty funny. You overcooked the roast. Start shooting him.
I think
Corey's
we
gonna
lost
do a
Corey.
spit take.
Right as I took a drink of
The
water.
internet's amazing, right?
Yeah. Anyway, that's probably like top 3 favorite moments from
Joshy Josh?
that film.
Oh, God.
As an adult,
As an adult,
If you say episode 1.
we're more like just
it's okay.
we're more like just aged children. That's what we are.
yeah, just man-childs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I really still like Return of the Jedi. I mean, I just like it. It's
Yeah,
fun.
that's
a bad
fair.
movie.
I like
I'm not
the-
saying I don't like it. I just said it's out of the 3.
I don't know.
It's in
Sometimes
the correct order is all I'm saying. It's still 3rd no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, I love how badass Luke is. I mean, there is kind of a suspension of disbelief when it comes to his badassery, because the difference between him in Return of the Jedi and him in Empire Strikes
Is
Back,
so dramatic.
it's vast, and you got to go, okay, cool.
It's like
I don't need an
there's a long
How
explanation.
many fucking years went by?
Yeah,
A lot.
I don't need.
Not many years.
Yeah, because he had enough time to build his own lightsaber.
Years?
C-3PO and R2 are on their own. Like, it's been a while. It's been a minute.
And then he just like gets the powers of badassdom. And I mean, you've got the classic Leia and the bikini thing. You've got Boba
Slave
Fett,
Leia, yeah.
where we find out that he's just
Boba Fett?
He is a
Boba Fett! Where?
he is a useless bad guy. You want it like
So unfortunate.
Boba Fett.
That's
like,
what the prequels. Jango Fett was way more of a badass, and you're like Boba Fett. Ugh. But the thing is, like, in the fucking books and the extended lore, Boba Fett's like
He's a
way
god.
more badass.
He's a
way
god.
more badass.
yeah. So there was a lost opportunity in that.
No longer canon, though.
I mean, you have Jabba, and then you've got Salacious Crum.
Salacious Crum.
Who is He's
The
just like
fucking
my
best.
favorite. He's like he's probably my favorite character in
got
Star Wars.
sad Rancor guy.
Yeah, Rancor. Yeah, I got a fucking Rancor.
The Rancor is pretty badass. I'll admit. That's
You've
a
got the
great
guy
scene.
that lost his big
trainer.
his big monster.
Yeah, the sad Rancor
Handler.
man.
Yeah, he's
Who's
very
crying.
sad.
Crying.
He was
Blubbering.
so sad. What else? I mean, you've got Ewoks. I like Ewoks. You've got the speeder race.
Yeah, I like this. Was it the Scout Troopers? That's what they called?
Yeah.
Yeah, Scout
It was,
Troopers.
oh,
yeah.
their helmets were so dope. I had the little Lego of them. I was like, oh, this is my favorite. This is my
That was terrifying when I was
You have
younger.
Han Solo's realization.
Yeah, his ancestral realization.
favorite. Kill Bill music.
Man, I mean, I do enjoy that movie. I didn't want to. I hope I didn't.
And then you
offend
have like I always appreciate like bad guys like
The chicken walkers.
yeah. I appreciate when bad guys kind of have a realization. Like, you know, Vader comes around at the end and he's like,
Yeah.
oh, no. And I appreciate that. I like it because, you know, the whole time Luke's like, I can change him. I can change him.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think this is a thing I was telling Tom the other night when we were watching.
Don't point at
I'll
me.
have
Don't point at
to.
me.
I won't point at you anymore. I promise I won't point at you.
He's pointing.
He was pointing very aggressively. I'd have to fact check this because I haven't yet, but I remember reading somewhere that they redid some scenes. Spoilers, guys. They redid some scenes in Star Wars with the Twi'lek dancer girl, and she actually returned to
Jedi.
reshoot them in Return of the Jedi. Yeah. What?
She actually returned
Return to the Jedi. God damn it.
Lost
but she-
opportunity, Tom.
She returned however many years later to reshoot it and looks exactly the same and nailed it. And she said she had the fucking best time of her life.
That's awesome.
So I thought that was kind of fun. I thought that was cool.
That's fun.
So
Tom,
mine.
favorite?
So yeah, as a kid, Return of the Jedi, I think I liked it as a kid because it was like, this is the end. This is like, all the good guys are gonna win, everything's gonna be happy,
Yeah.
and all that stuff. And then plus it's like, I remember in high school, one of my friends who actually kind of like not reignited, but kind of like really made me comfortable being a nerd. His name's Curtis.
Shout out to Curtis.
And he told me like, pretty much like in a good trilogy, typically the first one is like pretty much is birth, and then the middle one's life, and the last one's death. And so that, you know, that's how the Matrix kind of follows. And so like typically the middle one is the one that like is the most real. Like you get to see the actual development of people, and you get to test their boundaries and their principles and see what they do under pressure. And that's what I really love about the middle movies, like you said, Ollie.
Yeah.
And whenever shit would get bad for us in high school, we'd always say like, it's Empire Strikes Back. Shit just hits the fan. Everything gets fucked up. We learn about our father's an asshole. This is Empire Strikes Back. And so for a while, like I always kind of like heralded that one as kind of like, I know this one's the better one, but I didn't agree with it. And then just rewatching it for this episode, you know, I literally watched New Hope, Empire Strikes Back all in one day, and then Return of the Jedi later that day.
Yeah.
And I'll have to say it's probably Empire Strikes Back is number one, and then Return of the Jedi is number two.
Dope.
New Hope is number three for me because I think Return of the Jedi, the characterization of Luke to me is like, finally I get to see the badassery, and we've talked about it where like when you get these characters who are separated and then finally bringing them back together, you're like,
Yeah.
fuck yes, they're gonna wreck
Team's
house.
back together.
Yeah.
Get the team back together.
And yeah, I mean, and I think it's like just talking about like a lot of payoff. You get a lot of payoff that like
You do.
Han and Leia are finally together. And the thing that I love about Leia, and we'll get to it sooner, it's like she fucking like handles business. She's the one that fucking like kind of is in charge of the rescue for Han.
From the
for
start,
Han.
she kind of takes charge of everything.
Yeah.
From
Yeah.
her first fucking scene.
I mean, she's a badass the whole time.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, she's
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, for me, like Star Wars proper would be my my second choice because I love that it's a cohesive story, like within itself. You know, like Luke kind of finds himself, whatever, and then he
could've
kind
just
of,
He finds his adventure.
right.
It could have just ended.
It could have ended, yeah, and that would have been like, okay, that makes sense.
Loses his mentor, figures out how to deal with it.
Darth Vader gets blown
Yeah.
away, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does a little Team Rocket Pokemon shit and just flies away.
That's such a perfect way to put it.
That's absolutely true.
It goes away.
Looks like Darth Vader's blasting off again.
yeah, that's exactly what it does.
Oh man, we need an anime Star Wars.
We do.
That'd be dope.
Yeah, I think that's my second favorite as well. It's just, I mean, Obi-Wan for me when I was, I mean, still to this day with Ewan McGregor's portrayal of it, with Ewan McGregor's portrayal, he's just a cool character. Like his whole arc, including like the Clone Wars TV shows and stuff like that. He's awesome. He's badass. So to see him, in that was really cool. Even though you get to see him in the other ones as a ghost.
It's just kind of funny watching it now and then knowing Obi-Wan's journey later on.
Yeah.
Like, and it's so funny because like when you hear like how he's like, oh, your father was a great pilot when I met him. I was like, oh, so he was like watching it for the first time without anything. You're like, oh, he was this adult already who already had to use the Force. And then all of a sudden you see the people like, oh, he's a kid and he's
a
like
pod racer.
go-kart racing pretty much.
Yeah.
And then,
he was a pilot from a certain point of view.
yeah, and it's all that's it. It's all the point of view bullshit.
From a certain point of view.
But then my favorite like of Obi-Wan is just the Clone Wars animated series, which is like, oh, he's so fucking good, so fucking good.
Yeah, I never got into those.
Take your right hand and slap yourself.
Yeah.
I would.
Can't it be his left?
I'm gonna have to second that.
There's a mic in my way, so I'm not gonna do that.
But yeah, I'd like to. You know what? Let's talk about Leia for a sec because I think she's a really important, not only an important character within the Star Wars mythos, but for movies as kind of a whole. I can't think of, I guess in that time period in the late 70s, where there's another
Ripley
character who has. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
I
Wait,
knew
when
exactly
was
what
that?
you-
70.
I don't know.
Is that after though?
But I was just thinking about like in the 70s, 80s timeline.
Alien was
strong,
1979.
Yeah, so I think
Strong female characters.
She kind of paved the way for people like Ripley and stuff like that.
and Sarah Connor and Buffy.
Yep.
And all
And I think she, Carrie Fisher being the badass that I think how old was she when she did the first one? Like 19,
Young.
I think.
Yeah, she was super young.
But she fucking owned it. Like she
Yeah,
was
she
just
did.
like,
Oh, yeah.
I get this character front to back, no problem, I got it. That the first scene you see with Luke, where she's like,
she's
first
like
thing she
laying
says,
all, like
"Aren't you a
all
little small for a
Vogue magazine
stormtrooper?"
liking. Yeah.
a little short for a stormtrooper. Yeah,
She wakes up and she looks at them. and
she's the
like,
one who gets them out of that fucking hallway. She blasts the garbage thing and just jumps in head first. It's
Doesn't
like,
she grab
"Peace,
one of the
y'all."
guns and she starts shooting?
She grabs
people?
it from
Yeah.
Han, I think.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, but she grabs one and
Dead
shoots
Trooper, I
it,
think.
tosses it back, and just jumps in. And you're like, what the fuck?
She don't care.
Awesome.
Honey
No,
Badger don't care.
Awesome.
And then, like, I think from the very beginning, she's like, "Hey, if you listen to me, we're gonna get out of here alive." I was like, girl, do it."
I'd be like, okay, sure, whatever you want. It's great.
Yeah.
And I mean, specifically, we talked about like wardrobe and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, back in the day in the 70s, if that flowy white dress is hot or the Cinnabon ears is hot. But to me,
Well, no, that's a
I-
cool thing about
But
it.
that is kind of cool about it because that's why it's such a stark contrast in Return of the Jedi when she's in the bikini kind of thing.
or when she's with the Ewoks and she has long flowy hair.
Yeah.
Which to me, like, my point is that rewatching these, I'm like, I am still very attracted to her, even though she's not. There's nothing revealing. There's no booty cheek hanging out. There's no like cut off tank
Nope.
top like Natalie
Yeah.
Portman had, which I loved. But
She's in a
Scratched
bed
off
sheet,
conveniently.
and
the thing-
she's got her curlers in, and we're digging it.
but the thing is, like, it's her attitude, it's her portrayal, it's her
Confidence is sexy.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
and her knowledge of what the space station was and where it was going to go. I was like, I'm in love.
Yeah.
I love this woman. My God.
I'm going to marry Princess Leia.
Yeah. And giving shit to Tarkin and like
Yeah.
in the face of adversity, just spitting in their face, essentially.
She stands up to Darth Vader.
Puts on that fake ass British accent until Luke
Yeah.
gets there and then drops it. And you're like, oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So,
But
You're
yeah.
right. I didn't even notice that. You're right.
Yeah, if you watch it, like the first couple scenes, there's some controversy around it whether
you
or not
actually
she
pay
was
attention,
trying to
yeah.
do it, and then they were like, "Don't do that," and she's like, "Okay." I like to think that when she's speaking in front of people, she puts that on, and then when she's with Luke and Han, she's like, "Listen, we're gonna get the fuck out of here, y'all."
Kind of like in the prequel, right? With Padamame. I call her Padamame. Where she's Keira Knightley in front of other people, and then if she's not, then she's Natalie Portman.
Yeah, Padamame.
Padamame.
Yeah. So, and then also Carrie Fisher becoming the cultural icon that she was for being badass in real life. Like everyone who knew her has gone on record to be like she was the greatest human being in the world, and she would make you laugh your ass off no matter what.
I feel like I heard that she really didn't have a good time on that.
On the
I
movies
heard,
themselves,
yeah.
I think I've read some interviews where she talked about how it was there.
Like
were
she
some
had a
things
one-woman show that was some of it she talked about
yeah.
being in Star Wars and whatnot.
There were, I think, as a whole, she still really enjoyed it. I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
it gave her a career, and she, was great friends with Mark Hamill and Harrison
some
Ford.
doors,
and
yeah.
dated George Lucas for quite a long time. So I don't think it was that she hated the experience. I think there were aspects she hated, where she talked about how fucking George Lucas was like, "Oh yeah, they don't wear bras in space." And so she's like, I think she talked about it in her book where she's like, I knew he was bullshit, but I was like, all right, I'll do it. Like, who cares?
All right, fine.
But I mean, have you guys ever seen Fanboys?
Yes.
Yeah, and I mean, I was like really waiting for her cameo to be in that movie. So Fanboys is about these guys who are like trying to sneak into the Lucas Skywalker Ranch to watch Phantom Menace. And like, oh my god, it's gonna be amazing. And then at the very end, they're like, what if it's shit? And then but then throughout the entire movie, they have these cameos from different people of the original trilogy. And Carrie Fisher makes her cameo in the very end, where she's like a nurse or something like that,
Oh, that's cool.
or she's at she's at a hospital, which is pretty fucking amazing. And there's a lot of really good nuggets. And a movie about a trilogy is just it still hits me that like culturally
That's
it's so
a thing.
huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've gotten our nerd on
Yes.
about Leia.
Yeah.
We obviously know that the next question that I'm going to ask already has kind of an answer above it, but let's go beyond that. Do we have a favorite character?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we all do.
I think it might
I
be
don't
all the
think
same
Salacious
character.
Crum counts. No, just
Then no, I don't. Yes, I do.
what do I?
Well, let's do favorite character, and then I always like the favorite non-main character.
Non-main
Okay.
character.
'Cause
Okay.
it's like you gotta enjoy part of the world. You gotta enjoy.
That's a
part of the
hard
universe.
question for me because I love Star Wars. Like, if you were to make a like put Star Wars and Lord of the Rings together, Star Wars would be like a half an inch under Lord of the Rings.
Oh,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Like it would be.
Exactly.
It's so hard to pick a like favorite character because I love them all so much and they've all been such a part
Do
of
it.
my life. Okay, so my favorite character. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Don't start with me. I have to think about it now.
Ali.
Han Solo.
Why?
Because I wanted to be him when I was younger.
Who doesn't?
Why?
I want to be a badass like smuggler with my own ship in space.
You want to be a space pirate?
Space pirates.
That's like I want to be a space pirate.
yes.
Oh my
That's
God.
like
Oh, it
a
came back.
little bit of a ladies' man. You know, a lot of a badass.
Well,
And
Also
thinks-
knows when to make a joke.
Face
Knows when
is
to make a
super
joke.
charismatic.
Super,
Yeah.
super charming.
and he's Harrison Ford.
Yeah, and he shoots first.
And you have the fastest ship in the galaxy. Hunky
And then your
Jones.
son kills you.
Hey,
Or my theory
Oh my god! Yeah.
where he does it. Anyway, we'll talk about that in another episode.
Talk about another one.
What?
Yeah, we'll talk about another
Oh,
episode.
another
Stay
episode.
tuned to listen to our other episodes to
slips
find
in a
out.
parachute.
Next week. Next week will be our last Jedi
What's
episode.
Oh
your-
yeah, we'll talk about it then.
What's your non-main character favorite?
Non-main character favorite. I don't know if I have a favorite. Does Boba Fett count as a non-main character?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
That I
He's
would
not
be,
a main character in the movies.
yeah.
He's
then
got
I
like
guess-
what 3 lines?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although he could be, there's a lot of theories out there that he's the one who disintegrated Uncle Owen. Because you know how
the
they're all on
flamethrower.
fire and stuff?
Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
And
flamethrower.
then Vader goes up to him and he says, "No disintegrations."
Pretty dark, right?
So,
I
there's
mean,
a lot of-
he walks. I mean, Luke walks up, and his fucking uncle and aunt are just
Yeah.
just charred
Yeah.
pieces of jerky.
Ugh. Yeah.
That was a really nice way of saying that.
really, really
I would like some
beautiful.
charred pieces of Skywalker.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, I thought that was
I would
kinda
say, yeah.
interesting.
Skywalker jerky.
I'll go with Boba Fett still.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Josh,
Tom?
Tom?
Oh, me. I'm gonna have to differentiate because as a kid, I remember I wanted to be the knight in shining armor, so I wanted to be Luke.
Yeah.
I wanted to be like the chosen one and blah blah and to save the galaxy. But as an adult, fucking Han Solo.
Yeah.
Han Solo gets
Oh, yeah.
the girl, fucking, Millennium Falcon, got a dope friend and all that shit. And he's just, to me, the more, I guess, lovable character. Like there's a lot about him that it's like, oh, he has flaws. He's an asshole at some places, but it's like, but he's too charming.
He's a
And
very
it's like,
grounded character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, he's perfectly molded so that like he fits into all the pieces that need to happen. It's like we need someone that's going to transport us. We need someone that's going to like have like who's going to be emotionally tied to the character for a different reason.
Yeah.
And so and
And he's got the jokey jokes.
yeah, and then
Like the first movie when he runs in chasing those stormtroopers,
Just
only to
running
find
after
that
them?
there's 1,000 other ones, and he turns around and runs the other way.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
yeah,
Probably one of my favorite
he first gets introduced as kind of an asshole, kind of like you don't want to trust him, but it's like, hey, I got this fastest ship, and then you realize like he's in debt, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. Like there's reasons to like him. He's the perfectly flawed hero. And he reminds me a little bit like Spike Spiegel, a little from Cowboy Bebop.
I dig it. Yeah, absolutely.
So,
100%.
I really like that.
Kind of that like cavalier attitude about everything.
Yeah.
Like I don't really give a shit, but I really do give a shit.
Like just doesn't have time for BS.
Yeah.
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 Favorite non-main character would be
Space Slug.
well, I mean, would Yoda count, or was he
No,
Superman?
Yoda doesn't count.
He's a main character.
Not even close.
Would fuck it. I think I probably have to go with Boba then. Well, you know what?
It's hard to
Jabba.
think of-
Jabba.
Okay.
Jabba. You know
Jabba
why?
counts.
So for everyone at home listening, we were watching Return of the Jedi in this Nerd On castle, and I laughed
That
my
sweet,
ass
sweet
off.
surround sound Josh talks about.
The moment when Leia takes Han out of the carbonite, and then like I don't know, they hear the laughing, and then I'm like,
I know that laugh.
I literally in my mind I was like, how can Jabba the Hutt sneak up on them? I was like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like this is a giant slug that could fit in your living room. How does he sneak up on you? He doesn't. You just fucking were just in the place where he was just waiting for you. I was like, this is
Who's the trap?
kind of dumb.
It's a trick.
It's yeah. So, I mean,
I think it is dope that he resists Jedi mind tricks. And that's like in the lore now that Hutts are not susceptible to Jedi mind tricks.
Yeah.
I would have liked it that Jabba was strong enough. Not that the Hutts aren't, but that Jabba was.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I just know that in Knights of the Old Republic games, you can't force persuade any Hutts.
That just
Because
means
they're all like underground businessmen. Like,
they're all gangsters.
yeah.
I love that's dope.
And apparently gangsters have strong minds.
Apparently.
All right, I'll go. Actually,
Corey's an asshole. He's the
Why?
one that posed the questions, making everyone else answer it
What's the
first.
question?
No, you
did.
didn't. No, was it? Wait.
Yeah,
It was
I
him.
Wow, you're the asshole
Thanks,
for calling him an asshole.
Fuck. It's the last
Growing
episode
up,
of
my favorite character is probably also my favorite villain, Darth Vader.
Yeah.
I have always loved Darth Vader. He's such, and I think about it like he's a badass. And I only realized this time around watching that he's really not like, he's not the big baddie. He's just the minion.
Enforcer.
He's the enforcer. I never really.
Let's give him
it
a little
never,
bit more
He
credit.
is a big baddie, but yeah.
He kind of like it just never got into my wee tiny brain that he was not really like the
In charge of everything.
in charge of everything. He's just the enforcer. That's a really good description for him. And so I also like his journey. Like he's just a bad guy, and then at the end he saves the cat.
I mean, in some senses, you could say this is his story.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people credit that Star Wars, the 6 films in the original saga, are the Anakin Skywalker story.
Oh, I mean, if you include the prequel, of course it is.
Yeah.
But without that, I mean, the movie starts out with Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You introduce the quote unquote the protagonist, which is just something we're not used to seeing as the villain.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you look at it from that perspective.
And and of course, I mean, if I'm gonna hop on the band Falcon,
Yeah,
that's the
I
thing.
dig it.
That's a thing. I love Han Solo. I mean, that's if I had to choose, like Darth Vader and Han Solo would be my like
Tied. Gotcha.
let's see.
Non-main.
Non-main.
It's got to be Salacious Crum.
I mean, seriously, how can you not love him? And you can't choose the droids because they're main characters.
Yeah.
They are. They're robots and they're main characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Salacious Crum makes me laugh every time.
Is it him?
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
I love that. I love that.
Just
For
a
those of you
random-
who don't know, because they never say his name in the movie, he's the little piece of shit that laughs with Jabba the Hutt all the time.
Great description. Hey, that piece of shit, that's Salacious Crum.
I don't know how to describe him any other way.
Yeah.
He's a scraggly looking like
He makes weird like
bird E.T. wannabe.
The most Jim Henson looking thing in all the films.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I had to think about it because I knew growing up my favorite was Chewbacca, 100%.
Okay.
And I was like assessing
man's best friend.
as an adult. Thanks. I was assessing as an adult who is my favorite. Having watched these, throughout my whole life. It's still Chewbacca.
I knew
it's
it. I knew he was gonna say
100% still Chewbacca. He lives in the moment.
Bowcaster, baby.
Fucking love it.
Oh,
Bowcaster.
the bowcaster.
Fucking
and
powerful as shit.
He emotes more than anyone for like the scene in Empire when Han goes out to find Luke. As soon as the door shuts, he's just like super pissed about it. There's the moment in New Hope where Luke tries to put the handcuffs on him. He's like, back the fuck up. I'm not doing it. Han has to be like, okay, you can do it. What were you saying?
And the game, it's like,
Oh, yeah.
The chest.
So badass. When he's like, I suggest you let the Wookiee win. You know, he's known for ripping people's arms out of their sockets. And he just like lays back and like combs his hair back. And he's like, your move. Like,
I like the other night when we were talking about like, because it was almost like riff tracks the other night when we were watching, but it was like really Chewbacca, like he just cusses up a storm.
Oh yeah.
When he's going, "Grrr," he's really just going, fuck off, man.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
And it just, the amount that he cares for everyone, especially Han, is I think really admirable too. Like the moment he finds Han again in Return of the Jedi and he just like bear hugs him and is just and he's like petting Han Solo. He's just so happy to have his best friend back. And I just think it's really cool.
He's sensitive.
Well, there's also a lot from the extended universe as far as Wookiees go, like Kashyyyk and like Wookiee life debts and stuff that I think is really interesting. So I dig it. And I like I wanted to call back to the whole First Hope. The reason they get the Millennium Falcon now with the prequels, I like to think of it this way, is the first thing you see is who talking to who. Obi-Wan talking to Chewbacca at the bar. And I like to think that because of the Clone Wars, they started chatting it up and being like, oh shit, Chewbacca, it's Obi-Wan, Chewbacca. We're like, what are you doing here? Oh, I'm looking to get off. I have a guy, my buddy, who I have a Wookiee life debt to, Han Solo, has a ship. So I credit the whole thing coming together to Chewbacca.
Wow.
Yep.
Fun fact. Anyway, non-main character. By the way, my honorable mention, since you had Han, would be R2-D2, actually.
Yeah. I can see that.
Fucking badass.
Corey doesn't like dialogue.
No, I'm not a big fan of dialogue.
He likes characters.
That's all I write.
He likes characters that got like we're just cussing up a storm so they bleep it out or put like weird animal noises instead.
My main, non-main character favorite would have to be. This is tough. What a tough question.
Because there's so many.
I love.
There
tough
are so
questions.
many. I think it's the two thugs in A New Hope. I don't like you either.
Yeah.
I quote that all the time. And by the way, Luke fucking punks him in that hella hard. Do you ever listen to the dialogue there?
No.
He's like, my friend
sorry.
doesn't like you. Sorry, I don't like you either. Okay? And he goes, we're wanted men. We're wanted on 12 star systems. He goes, well, I'll be careful then. like, what the fuck? I'd be like, I'm so sorry. Like, let me get out of your way, whatever.
I feel like an honorable mention goes out to the Stormtroopers because I'm pretty sure that the same guy did the same voices for all of them. But they're always just like, it really is like that, like
the
that
Family
joke.
Guy where they have like the guy with a really plain voice.
Yeah, it's like, I really feel like it's just a joke every time. Like I'm imagining what they're talking about. It's like, hey, did you see last night's episode of Baywatch? No, did you? Like, just what the fuck are they talking about?
Move along.
I love in Return of the Jedi when Han Solo taps his shoulder, runs off. It's like, hey, it just runs out.
The guy oldest trick in the book.
Oh my god.
They're not very. What I think is funny is like in A New Hope, Obi-Wan's talking about how badass stormtroopers are, and nowadays we know that you have stormtrooper syndrome.
Yeah.
You have no aim, and then like in Return of the Jedi,
Wait, is this a real thing, Stormtrooper syndrome? Or is that like an internet-based thing?
I mean, it's an internet.
Okay.
It's an internet-based.
Okay.
No, it's a real thing.
It's a real syndrome.
I'm sorry, Tom. You have stormtrooper
You can't shoot
syndrome.
anything.
Do you know the joke with the red shirts and the stormtroopers, right?
Yeah.
They're shooting
What?
each
No.
other. The red shirts still died and the stormtroopers missed.
No.
But no, and they fell for the oldest trick in the book twice.
Yeah.
In Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
So I don't know if
There's also a whole theory about how stormtroopers miss on purpose, like as far as like Luke's party goes.
So really, they're just like they have a lot of morale.
Yeah, it's someone, those of
Their
you at
moral
home,
compass.
look it up. There's a whole fan theory. It's like 4 or 5 pages long talking about that they miss on purpose because they don't want the Empire to succeed because their families were killed and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, I think what's really cool with the now, I guess we could talk about with Force Awakens. Yeah, Force Awakens. At least between the prequel series and then the original trilogy and then Force Awakens, the clone troopers are dope. They're
Yeah.
badass. They're all taken from the samples of Jango Fett.
Yeah.
And they're all really legit. And that's why if you guys fucking watch Clone Goddamn Wars
I've watched
animated,
it, Tom. Don't look at me when you say it.
every episode with the Clone Troopers is the best fucking episode ever. Fives? Oh my god.
Oh, yeah.
Fives is the fucking best. Watch that shit. If you don't, slap yourselves at home. Watch that now. It's not on Netflix anymore. Anyways.
I'm sorry, I just slapped myself.
Oh,
I haven't
it's so
seen it.
goddamn good. Anyways, but I think there's a big point in either Rebels or at the end of the Clone Wars where the clones end up finding out about Executive Order 66. And then some of them, there's a batch of them, or there's one that actually gets activated, and everyone has to find out, and it's a huge cover up. But I think one of the lasting missions or some of that is to destroy some of the clone facilities. And so when the Empire loses all the clones, and like the clones start dying off, and they all you start aging out, then they have to kind of start like recruiting people
right.
from other planets, and they're all garbage because you can't really. You're trying to amass this empire, and then empire of like shitty people. It's like
It's like that scene from 300. What do you do?
Yeah.
What is your profession? I'm a potter, sir.
It's like,
Give him a
Spartans,
gun.
what's
Yeah.
your profession?
Hoorah!
And and I always say like 1 times a million is still 1. Or still a million. Or 0 times a million is still 0.
Right.
So it's like you could have as many people as you want, but they're garbage.
I was like, I
and
don't
they're
think that
garbage.
math is quite correct.
No, I was just, I'm not good at math. That's why I went to film. Anyways.
But yeah,
I have a fun fact.
Yeah,
I have a fun fact.
please.
How deep the rabbit hole goes.
I was gonna say, how deep is your love? But
Oh man, my brain just went into that song. Okay, fun fact. How deep the Star Wars black hole goes. Biggs and Wedge.
What about him?
wait, who?
They are Biggs and Wedge.
Biggs and Wedge.
Who the hell's Biggs and Wedge?
Biggs is basically Luke's best friend from the Academy.
Yeah, who
And
dies.
Wedge lives throughout the whole entire trilogy,
Yeah,
essentially.
but they don't really call him out too much. But anyway, Biggs and Wedge are actually characters in Final Fantasy
Really?
and Chrono Trigger.
What?
Squaresoft.
Look at
It's
that.
their little kind of
Nod.
nod to Star
cool.
Wars. Biggs and Wedge. They
dig
are different characters in different in the different series, but they're usually together, and they're usually kind of comedy relief.
I like that.
But they're Anyway,
I like that a lot.
fun fact.
That is
Moving
a fun
on.
fact. I'd like to open up the last little bit here. I know we're running on time. To kind of a little
Fuck the
more.
time.
All right, fair enough. We'll cut
Actually,
that
a long
out.
time ago.
We'll cut that out then. Here we go. I'll go.
We won't cut it out.
I kind of want to bring it to the lore a little bit. And there's some, I talked a little bit about fan theories here and there, little things that line up. And there's one that's kind of always fascinated me
The rule of 2.
about R2D2.
Okay, never mind.
And the fact that, droids can't be technically quote unquote force sensitive, but in the lore or the world, the galaxy that they live in, luck is actually attributed to the force working with you. So people who don't know about it call it luck, but people who know about the force be like, oh, that's the force.
And it's
working
cool
with
that
you.
in Rogue One you got Donnie Yen's character
Yeah.
who is like worshiping the Force, and everyone kind of thinks like, and even they say in the first movie in Star Wars in proper New Hope, where it's like your weird fantasy religion of the Force,
yeah.
is blah blah blah, and then he says the
But which is funny because Han Solo is arguably the most lucky person in the galaxy, so probably has the force working
Well,
with him without
yeah.
knowing it.
and he says that it's cool because I think J.J. Abrams did pretty good at just kind of like mimicking the first movie and kind of like making it adaptable.
Yeah.
Or in New Hope, where he says like, "Oh, I've been around the galaxy, yada yada, and I don't all this Force crap and blah blah blah," and then all of a sudden in Force Awakens, he's like, "It's all real."
Yeah.
It's like he's
It's
completely
dope.
changed.
Yes, Josh.
I have a question.
Yeah.
No.
So throughout most of the trilogy, there is reference that Leia has the Force too.
Yeah.
The Force is
They-
strong
they-
with his family.
But here's my thing, and I could be that I'm just totally blind and I just didn't see it.
You might be.
Did they? Where's the evidence? They didn't show us.
Would
Well,
it
it's
be in
like Luke
Kylo?
had always been strong with it, but you never saw
Well,
it.
I know, but one of the things is like Yoda's dying words. Part of what he was saying was that there's another.
You mean where's the evidence within the original trilogy or in the
Yeah.
whole
I
thing?
don't think it's there, really.
I don't
Besides
think
the
that.
luck,
Okay, that's what I
luck
was
and
trying to
stuff like
see.
that.
is, like,
Explicitly means it's not
You mean, like,
physically
seeing her
shown.
live
it's not like
rocks and
slapped
shit?
in your face or
No.
anything like that. It's just like, oh, she has it too.
It's like
and then
luck
we
and
move along.
Well, I
Yeah.
think
In the extended universe.
In Return of the Jedi, when Yoda says it, it automatically cuts to Leia, right?
I think so.
After he says that there's another,
Yeah.
And then it cuts to Leia, so it's kind of like film language by that. But then there's a part, I forget when, but there's a part where like Leia, I think, senses Luke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After I think she knows he survives.
I'm trying to remember.
But I thought that was
Oh
just
yeah,
like
it's when the Death Star blows up and Han's like he probably wasn't on there, and she's like he's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to me, I say that's enough evidence as Obi-Wan
Obi-Wan, when Alderaan
blows up. He's like, oh, this something happened. It's like,
Yeah.
all right.
just like that.
That was a badass part. Don't discredit that.
Thousand voices
screaming out.
screamed out at
You know.
once, and we're silenced. all
But
at
my
once. I
point,
forget.
my point of that was, so people who don't know about the Force attribute it to luck, and so there's a lot of theories out there that says R2D2, were he not a droid, would be like one of the most powerful Jedi ever because everything he does is
lucky
by
as
the
fuck.
skin of his fucking teeth.
That's right.
George Lucas had it so that once in every film, he saved our heroes. He's the reason they got out of something, right? And I was trying to go through them the other day. Maybe you guys can help me complete the list because I know in New Hope it's the trash compactor. There's multiple. There can be multiple, but it was at least once. Trash compactor. In Empire Strikes Back, it was what? I don't remember.
He
Man.
probably sticks his little robot penis in something, and then something happens. I can
Yeah, but
guarantee
anyway,
it.
so he saves them each. I mean, the one that really sticks out to me is from the prequels when he spills the oil and then uses his jetpacks to light all the other
fire.
droids on fire while he's trying to like watch everything. So I thought that was really interesting. That's one of the reasons I've always
There's
liked
a glitch
R2.
in the Matrix.
What?
I just had this weird like deja vu that we talked about this before.
Probably. I guarantee it.
It's
and
the
then
reason
we-
why we made this podcast.
This has happened before and it'll
helps,
happen again.
He helps Anakin navigate the Naboo fighter,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah. I mean, the idea of the whole luck thing, again, it's the blind dude from Rogue One who literally has a bowcaster and shoots it off to the side.
and
it's like, come on.
They did his death dirty. Can I tell you 1 minute? how his death should have been.
Talking about Rogue One?
Yeah.
I don't want the Force is with me. I want the Force is with me.
Yeah, so you know how he gets like shot down?
Yeah.
And pulls the lever, whatever. Here's how it should have been. He should have been halfway through, the bullets are going by, he gets shot, and instead of just dying there, he should have reached up with one hand and pulled the lever with the Force, and then died. That would have been the... I'm having a nerdgasm just thinking about it!
Nerdgasm.
Corey, about your theory.
Yes.
Do you think R2, like with his mind,
Oh, no.
killed that first droid that was picked?
Oh.
So not with his mind,
shit.
but that's part of the Force. Like the Force was like, no, bro, this guy needs to be a part of this. So the Force was like, quote unquote, luck that
And-
droid blew up.
I mean,
My question is, would he be the biggest Sith in the galaxy? Not the biggest Jedi.
No, because he too loves everybody.
Which I have a question about. So going into the lore, so if everyone knows the extended, like the Sith, like the rule of two was established by one Darth Lord back in the day, because the Sith was a race, and it wasn't just like the dark side and blah blah blah. The Sith were like these, a race of other people. But then one, Sith Lord ended up creating this thing where it was like there could only be two. It could only be a master and an apprentice, and they introduced this mechanic in the prequel of the Phantom Menace, where when Qui-Gon Jinn's on this fire thing, it's like, well, we have to find out who the master is. And so with that mechanic, that archetype built in the lore, going back to the original trilogy,
wait, there can only be two.
there can only be two Siths.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So there could be a shit ton of Jedi, that's fine, but these two Sith are literally enough to balance the Force.
Yeah.
Or
That's
to
how powerful
upset
the
it,
dark
which is
side is.
ridiculous.
Wow, they're hardcore.
I remember
fuck
Empire
yeah.
Strike Back, R2 fixes the hyperdrive when they're escaping Cloud City.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
And he's
There you go.
impressively off-roady.
Yeah.
He can go anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
a
And
tank.
stubborn as
He's a
shit,
tank.
too.
Yeah.
I just love the fact that everyone will be like, oh, no, don't do that. And he's like, I'm going to do it. This is the right thing to do. And then
Fuck
it
it.
always is. It's
Yeah.
always the right thing. And you go, oh, we should probably just trust him at
Yeah.
this point.
So anyway, back to what Tom was saying.
Yeah, sorry.
Was the Emperor's plan to kill off Vader and have Luke be his new?
Absolutely.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
It's super fucked up.
And Vader was like, and then we all know Vader's plan was to like recruit Luke as his apprentice and take out the Emperor and all that stuff. I was just like, bruh, you could, Jesus, just like tell Luke's like, dude, we gotta kill the Emperor. I'm on your side. Like, I think he was trying to do that, but it was more like in the war sense of it all. It's like
He's wearing a mask. He can't do facial expressions.
He was winking.
Wink, wink,
He didn't
nudge,
know.
nudge.
He was like, I'm going to take you to the Emperor now. Wink, wink. But he has
Know
the
what I mean?
mask. So
Know
Luke
what I
was
mean?
like, fuck, we're going to the
Kicking
Emperor.
him.
I'm just like, no, I just...
Making another Monty Python joke. Anyway.
But I mean, just like kind of
Wink, wink,
looking
nudge. I just ate them all.
at the original trilogy as it's self-contained, like you could like it was only in the third movie where you felt Vader was like, we need to stop this mindless bloodshed in the war, and so you and I must join forces.
Yeah.
And that was like the only point where I was like, oh, is he trying to overthrow the Emperor? Because the entire time, like Vader is
I
just
dig
like,
it. I can see that.
because in the second one, Vader, Empire Strikes Back, Vader's pretty much just like taunting Luke. It's like, you know, the dark side grows within you. It's like you can't resist it, blah, blah, blah. And that's when like he just fucks with him. It's like, you have grown, you've gotten stronger, blah, blah, blah. And that's it.
I have a qualm.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about this. Okay, so in Return of the Jedi, when
Boba Fett flies into the Starlight Pit.
no, not that. So Luke is like there with Darth Vader and the Emperor and all that kind of stuff, and he's like he's fighting back with Darth, and the Emperor's like, yes, give in to the dark side, and I just want to be like, fuck you, dude, it's adrenaline.
Yeah.
It's not the dark side, it's fucking adrenaline.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's
So if you get
part
into
of
a
it.
car accident and you're like, oh God, you're giving into the dark side?
No, but if you beat the shit out of the guy, you are.
Doesn't Darth Vader say like come join me at my side, then we can rule the galaxy or
Yeah.
something like that?
In Empire.
He says that
Empire, yeah.
he says that when he's chopped off his hand, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So like Darth wants to overthrow.
But
Oh, probably,
but it doesn't
absolutely.
explicitly say like we need to overthrow the Emperor.
Right.
Because the first time we
I
see
guess
the
that's true.
Emperor is in the, like the little Force vision thingy with the weird goggle eyeballs.
Yeah.
And then later on we see him
Looks like
in
a chimpanzee.
Yeah. Later on we see him in Return of the Jedi with the dope theme that comes in the first time you see the
Dun,
Red
dun.
Guards. You're like,
Yeah.
oh fuck.
The Royal Guards.
Royal Guards, yeah. Finally some goddamn color in the Empire.
I know.
We're gonna see them again.
They're always wearing hockey pads.
Oh my god.
How?
I don't know. I'm tired.
How?
I'll find it. Where there's a will, there's a way.
So, what do we think? How do we feel that this informs the new movies? So we have 7 came out,
Yeah, which was a
and then we have 8 that's coming out. I
total
know that we're
homage to New Hope.
Almost a carbon copy. It was kind of like when you get the white sheet of paper and then you have the pink sheet underneath it and you wrote all over it. You know, like you ripped
so
it
which
off,
is
like,
the
oh.
yellow sheet?
I drew this.
It was kind of like, oh, okay.
I called it Star Wars. Oh, remember?
Member berries.
Yeah, that's what I called
Well,
it. 'cause
I'm
I was just like,
actually-
oh, remember?
Is anyone concerned, quote unquote, that it's going to that 8 is gonna follow 5?
No, I'm not, because Ryan Johnson is dope. I think he's a dope motherfucker.
Yeah. I think it's
shout
going to be
out.
good. I think as long as they stick to the hero's journey.
Honestly, I think as much shit as I just gave 7, was it 7? 7,
Yeah,
right?
7.
Yeah.
7. It's because it's been so fucking long since the original trilogy and you had to take place after it. You have to like redo the.
We need
kind
a
of the same
palate
form-
cleanser.
Yeah.
You kind of need the same.
That's why it's
formula.
called, remember? It's getting everyone on the same page.
Well, I mean, it's also for the kids that were born like in 1999.
Yeah.
Who were like, I'm a 90s kid. And, whatever.
Phantom Menace.
Yeah. And so it's like, okay, well, here's.
That's what I
this.
call pod racing.
Yeah.
That was a dope ass game, though. You admit it. You
Oh, yeah.
admit it right here.
Yeah, I had
It's the
it.
best game. Real quick.
In the arcade.
Real quick. I want to talk about like favorite moment from the original. But
Before we get.
I don't want to get too much into speculation about the new films because we're gonna have a whole episode about that. But I do.
I will comment, and then I know
Yeah.
Ryan Johnson has said like not to watch the trailers for this new one, so you don't get ruined or any of that crap. I don't listen to him, anyways. But the whole like Luke, his demeanor, his character from Empire to Jedi, and then to Jedi to Force Awakens, like God, how many different characters of Luke are we seeing? God,
Well, this one he's had like 30 years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that
but I
can
mean,
go,
how many
okay.
years has happened since Empire and Jedi?
30.
But I like, there's a funny meme where it's like Luke at the end of Return of the Jedi is like the hopeful college student who's like, I'm going to take on the university and do well and have a career. And then like Force Awakens, Luke is like the one on senior year. It's like, fuck this.
Oh,
system.
yeah.
Everything's
It's all
broken.
bullshit.
Yeah. It's
Never
like,
gonna
this
use
is
it in
a
the real
professional-
world.
Exactly. And I'm just like, yeah, I see that happening. And the thing is like the new Star Wars trilogy is really for the new generation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just glad that they're utilizing some of the original themes from John
I agree.
Williams. I think huge shout out to John Williams. I think.
Oh my
yeah,
God.
absolutely.
Some of the thematic things.
It
that
is-
Of course.
I will go on record saying it. For me, it is the best villain theme ever.
yeah.
I'll second that.
It's called the
Was-
Imperial March.
It was Duel of the Fates only in the prequel?
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That,
It wasn't in the
that,
new ones.
That is to me.
Yeah, but like
That
with
is
your eyes
amazing.
closed, as soon as you hear dun dun, you know,
dun,
oh shit, it's
yeah.
Darth Vader.
someone's walking.
Like dun,
Someone's
dun, dun,
walking
dun, dun,
somewhere.
dun, dun, dun. I'd be like, what's
Yeah.
going on in the scene?
Yeah.
But that you're like, oh shit's going down, and it every time it comes on screen, it pops up. It's great.
And there's
It's
like a
really
nice
well done.
whimsical sound to it, like in some of the themes too, where it's kind of like just this. You're in this world, wherever you're at. Like there's a whimsical sound of
Or like when you turn on when you just fucking press play and you're like,
Yeah, you're like, oh shit. You know, I did like watching
Star Wars is here.
watching Return of the Jedi this last time when Vader takes off his helmet. It still plays the Imperial March, but it's high up on the piano. Did you notice that? It's really slow.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
beautiful on the piano. It's really nice. Nice little touch.
Single
by John
tier.
Williams. Yeah.
Just rolls on by.
BB-8 or R2?
Ooh.
I'm an R2. Of course.
I want to say R2, but I really like BB-8.
I really like BB-8.
R2 all day.
It's always going to be R2.
R2.
I like BB-8.
Okay, I've had 6 movies of R2, so it's gonna be R2.
I'm gonna say BB-8.
We should have a Robot Wars. R2 would kick his
Do you remember Robot Wars?
But
Anyway,
yeah,
Let's go back into favorite parts.
I wanted to talk about favorite moment from, or moments, maybe if you have
Yeah,
a
let's
couple.
do moments so we could pick from different parts of the movie.
Yeah, so like one from each maybe?
If you want, I was gonna say just
Oh, that's
favorite
gonna be
moments.
too
Or
hard
just
for me to
favorite moments
remember.
then. Let's each do like 3 favorite moments.
Corey, you go.
Miko?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so y'all got to think about
Don't
it.
be an asshole.
So I already said one of Sorry. That's fair. I'm going to be an asshole about it. I'll go first. So I talked about a few, so I won't name any of the ones I named previously in the episode. I'll try to pick brand new ones. I think fucking Yoda lifting the ship up for me. I remember being as a kid and even watching it now being like,
When Luke's like, it's impossible.
he says, you asked the impossible. And then Yoda's like, bitch. And he puts his hand out and does it. And Luke's face is just like, what the fuck? Teach me everything.
Yeah.
That moment for me was like spot on. I think another favorite of mine, I mean, it's cliche. It's super cliche. But
I am your father.
Yep, no. The I love you, I know.
Oh yeah.
yeah, of
Knowing
course.
that Harrison Ford went up to George and was like, I'm not going to say I love you back because Han wouldn't do that. He's got like a, history of doing that. The whole pistol scene in Indiana Jones was his
Yeah.
idea too because
he had the flu. Yeah.
And he was like, look, can I I'd shoot him. I have a gun. They were like, can't argue that. All right, cool. So the backstory to that is also pretty great. And then right after that moment, he gets frozen in the carbonite. Chewie throws 4 stormtroopers off the edge before they can contain him. Loses his shit and just starts throwing people off. And Vader and Boba are just like watching it. They're just like, oh shit, that's a mad ass Wookiee. All right, let him calm down for a minute.
That's a
and then
mad-ass
Leia calms
Wookiee.
him down.
Yeah.
So anyway, I like that.
For some reason, that just reminded me of the Avengers.
those
Come
are
on,
probably
big
my three.
guy.
Oh, and my honorable mention moment. My honorable mention moment is the moment where Luke spins around the diving board and pulls himself back up because I told you this, didn't I? I tried it as a kid and I ate shit. I hit my chin on the board. I ate shit and I bled in the pool. It was bad.
Oh man.
So that's my favorite.
that
moment.
I'm sure you're not the only stupid kid out there.
No.
Shout out to all the stupid kids
Shout
out
out to
there.
the stupid kids out there. There's probably many more. I can go on for days and days, but I'll end there.
I love the moment when they're the trash compactor and they're like celebrating. And he's like, "Oh God, God, listen,
We've killed them.
we've killed him! Oh no!"
Shut off all the trash compactors at the detention level.
I love the moment. There's a badass moment when like Darth Vader has just finished force choking somebody, and they come in on the scene on that, and Darth Vader goes, "I accept your apology."
Yes.
He just fucking killed him.
And do you remember what happens? He's
No.
with the other guy and they lose the Millennium Falcon.
Oh yeah.
And he goes, I'll take credit for this. I'll apologize to Vader. And like just you see it in his face, he's like, I'm gonna get choked out today.
I'm gonna.
It's been real. And he gives the guy, he goes,
And the
do
other
this,
guy's
this, and this.
expression is like,
Yep.
I gotta go.
Yep.
I'd be that guy. I'd be like, yeah, I gotta,
We talked about that the other night.
Yeah.
Like, if you're standing next to the guy who gets choked by Vader, just take another step to the left and be like, pass, hard pass, I'm good.
Hard pass,
Because
bro.
you're going to get promoted to Admiral.
Yeah, like, nah, I'm good.
That's your job
I just
now,
want to press the
Admiral.
button when you want to fire the laser.
I'm not good at leadership, bro.
Yeah.
You don't want me there. Third moment.
You just start choking yourself out. Just like, I'm going to kill him.
I'm just gonna let me just
I'll take care of it.
man, third moment.
I mean, there's just so many that
There's
are like
so many
fucking
moments.
killer. After Obi-Wan dies and you just hear, run, Luke. You're like, what the fuck?
Okay, I know that we mentioned it, but it really is my favorite. One of my favorite moments of Star Wars is when Han is like, he's trying to be a badass and he's like running and he's running through those
Yeah.
hallways. And then he gets to the hangar full of stormtroopers. And then the next scene is him running with his
back.
gun like over his head. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of
Tom
good
Ollie.
moments.
We'll pop in with a few more.
I think they really coincide with your parts, Corey. My favorite part, or one of my favorite parts, I think, is not the "do not try" or blah 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 crap line.
Wow.
It's not a crap line. I'm not going to paraphrase. I'm not even going to try. But it's right before he tells Luke to pick up his ship, his X-wing, and he's like, "Those are two different things." Like, no, they're only different in your mind.
Oh, yeah.
And that I was just like, oh shit. As an adult rewatching, I was like, oh, problems that you have, like big ones or small ones, are all the same.
It's all the same.
I was like, my God.
Yeah.
It's actually my
Yoda's a
philosophy
G
of
in
life.
the first one.
Yeah.
Shit, I think all mine are the same as yours.
As me? Yeah, hold my hand. We
Yeah,
did
a
it. We're
little
best
bit.
friends.
Yeah, so I think, the I love you, I know. And then the Return of the Jedi part, I don't think like the whole jumping on the thing was like, that's the reason why it's my favorite part. But like, I remember, I don't know what it was.
Oh, when C-3PO runs into R2-D2 on that thing and he's like, oh, I'm sorry, R2-D2.
Oh, the
It's like,
bartender?
what did they do to
Well, I
you?
know you're serving drinks.
Excuse me. But yeah, I don't know. It just, when you just see the two little ships over the Starlight Pit and it's just dumb. I was like, oh, this is gonna be fucking dope.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why. I think there was a trailer.
There's a Family Guy moment that goes on for like a minute and a half where it goes to different people. Bum. Blam. Blam.
But I don't know. I think there was a trailer back in the day that like literally showed that part, or maybe it was when they re-released them back into the theaters, and
Probably.
that was just a trailer for it. And I was like, this
Totally
is going to
forgot
be
about
fucking
that. I have
amazing.
seen them in the theaters.
Yeah.
I forced my parents to go take me to watch them, and
I forgot about that.
they hated it.
Ollie, what you got?
I love you, I know.
Of course.
That's a very iconic. I love the binary sunset. I mentioned that at the top of the
Sunsets.
episode.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Cinematic.
it's just like the music that kicks in there, and it just like you hear the score kind of swell in, and it's just like it's good.
What about Luke taking down a AT-AT all by himself
Yeah.
with a lightsaber and
That was-
a broken off grappling hook, just
Yeah.
tow cable, just.
Yeah.
I think another one, my honorable mention would be Yoda dropping his facade, like playing the crazy old hermit.
Oh, yeah.
And then just dropping it to be like, no, I'm not going to train him. And then what the fuck? Luke's like, what? And I remember being in, like, the first time I saw it, I was like, what? Why isn't he making jokes and being all funny and stuff? He's like, no, too old. And I'm like, no. I was like, what the fuck? So it was a facade from the moment he knew who Luke was the second he got there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think
that was
another
cool.
one of my favorites is the Starlight Pit when he like same as you the plank, but it's the moment where like he gets his lightsaber back and he like
Shoots out of
puts it
R2.
out and like he like unsheaths it or
Yeah.
whatever it's
Green.
called. Yeah, and like just that pose right there for like a split
What
second
is-
before he like does stuff. I'm just
What
like,
does Han say when he's like his eyes are going and Lando, he's got his
Oh, it's
hand-
okay. I can see a lot better now.
I thought you were blind.
I thought you
okay, I
were
can
blind. It's
see a
okay.
lot
I
better
can see a
now.
lot better now. It's just like, oh God.
If I have an honorable mention, I think it's the last fight of Return of the Jedi when Luke is fighting Darth, and like the part where he's just like
Just wailing on him?
at it. I was like,
Yeah.
this is pretty dope. But I think before that too, when like Vader is now looking for Luke, and Luke is the one that's hiding in the darkness. It's like, whoa, what a huge shift! And like Luke is in pretty much entirely in control of the entire fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like it's the love of that reversal of like Luke got his ass handed to him, and then now it's like he's at a better place. And
He had the high ground.
yeah, he
I
had the high
also,
ground. Yeah.
you know, something.
That was a big thing. Like in the entire time they're fighting. Like he's
Disappeared
on
for a
top.
little while and everyone gets delusions of grandeur.
when Darth Vader just throws his lightsaber at him.
First saber throw, which is like a key in every game now.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's badass.
I like that Luke was wearing black in
Yeah.
Return of the Jedi because it went against like, okay, well, the good guys wear white.
Or brown and tan.
Or you know, they don't wear black. They don't do that. And it's kind of it's cool that scene when Darth Vader is bringing Luke to the Emperor and they're both in black, and it's just like, and because you as a viewer know their relationship, you're like, oh my gosh.
That whole scene.
And Luke has like when they're walking and talking, and Luke is just like totally in control of everything.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of, you know, going back into like the little bit of lore, it's like, it's funny because, you know, when we first see Obi-Wan, he's in the brown cloak and he's got like his garb on, and you kind of infer it like, is this what Jedis wear? You know, when you first watch that, but then, you know, you see the prequel series, like, oh, all Jedis wear this shit.
Yeah.
And then seeing Luke, he wears white in the very beginning, and like you see him change too. And then going to Josh's point, like at the very end where he's wearing black, it's like, it's not loose. It's all very tightly like worn on him. Like, it's like, it's very form fitting and
Almost formal.
yeah, and I mean, and actually, in some cases, like it felt like he might go to the dark side because you know he's in all that black, and I liked that Anakin in the prequel series ended up wearing a very similar outfit, which was like, oh, okay, this, you know, like it's
Parallels.
parallel, but it's like not showing the same journey,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Well, I think we can all agree that we love these films very much.
Oh my gosh,
Even the
yes.
cheesy, hokey stuff that didn't hold up over the
yeah.
years, or the you know, some of the shitty CGI they put in, we can deal with it because we love the film. We love
We see
space
past
wizards,
it.
space wizards, and space pirates, guys. That's Star Wars in a nutshell.
Yep.
I think that's pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
I'd like to move on to a little shout out for one of our fans we have out there who's been really cool, posting some cool stuff, and that is GWhite05.
05.
05, excuse me. I say 05. That's how I say my number too, so whatever. But yeah,
big shout out. Very
shout out to that
active.
guy.
Yes, thank
always
you.
commenting on our stuff, and
We heart
we
you.
love it. There's another one, Film Forecast Podcast. They pretty much comment on
all the
almost
time.
all of
Yes.
our stuff.
Shout out to them as well. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for showing us some love. We appreciate it.
You know,
Yeah, it
thank
means a
you
lot.
to Board Elon for sponsoring this episode. We really appreciate that.
Check that out.
Love that Twitter.
And speaking of Twitter, where can we find us?
yeah.
You can find us on Twitter, Nerd on the Pod. You can find us on Instagram. We're probably more active on Instagram because we like pictures.
I like
We're-
pictures and colors.
Yeah. So Instagram is Nerd on the Podcast. Facebook, you can get us at Nerd on the Podcast. YouTube, you got to search us. Got to search Nerd on the Podcast. I know it's a few more keystrokes, but
We're there.
it's there.
But hey,
If they forget all that.
if they forget all that,
If you forget all of it, if you
Ollie
remember
forgets
only one
If
thing.
Ollie forgets
Because
what he's supposed to say.
Ollie always brings this up, so I think he spaces out, blacks
like, if
out, and then
you,
he goes.
If you forget.
If you forget, you can go to nerdonthepodcast.com.
Nice. Tom.
Nice.
Actually, Josh, where can they find you?
Jeez.
We're a mess tonight, guys.
So it's
it's the best.
it's the force. You can find me, Joshua S. Manley, on Instagram. You can find me on the Facebooks, Joshua S. Manley, I think. You can find me on the Twitters.
Where's that at?
Just Josh and ya. You can find me on IMDb, Joshua Sterling.
IMDb.
IMDb. You can find my website, soundsLikeSterling.com. What else? Oh, PSN, Sterling J85. Let's play. It'll be fun.
Do it. Thomas?
Kind of mad we didn't do a rating, but
We're not
gonna
going to
do a
rate
rate.
old films.
I can rate old
We
films.
rated.
Did we rate Nightmare?
Yes.
Did we?
Yes.
All right, let's do it then.
That's
Can we rate 3 films, though? It's a trilogy.
yeah.
We'll rate the one.
I don't like it. I don't like it. I say no.
Okay, Josh
I
said
say
no.
good day.
All right.
All right, this is
If you want to find Tom's rating, you can message him
Is it gonna
at...
be lower than 5?
yeah, baby. This is Josh on the podcast. Anyways,
He just doesn't want to blow George Lucas.
I wouldn't.
Oh yeah, you're
We're
right.
going to rate the new one. It's just 3 films. It's hard to do.
I could do it. You can find me at Tell Dark
can
Not
rate
Ugly and
anything.
everything on everything. So if you want to tweet at me or slip and slide in my DMs, you can ask me about those ratings. You can find me on YouTube and Vimeo as Thomas Borisooth, and on
He looks
IMDb.
really mad that we didn't
I am
allow
very
the
mad. My
rating.
arms are
Upset.
crossed. I'm dark side, baby.
He's being very Sith-like. We might need to allow the ratings.
Do you want to?
Yeah.
Let's just do it.
Let's do
Let's
it,
do
Tom.
it.
Let's make Tom happy. So Tom, you go
Tom
first.
needs to
I
rate
wanted
everything in
this.
his childhood.
Tom's going first.
All right, so starting with New Hope, I
Uh-huh.
would say that is a 4. Empire Strikes Back, 4.8. Return of the Jedi, 4.2.
Nice. I dig
All
it.
masterpieces. So when you're in the 4, you're in the masterpiece echelon.
Can I ask you, what is 5?
5 is like, there's nothing I would change.
Nothing.
There's not one thing that I would change. I'm
we're-
not saying it's the best movie of all time. I'm just saying like there's nothing you could add to it that would give it more.
Right. And you're talking theatrical, not the CGI.
I'm talking about the first ones
Yeah.
I watched when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I would
None of this
say
Blu-ray re-release baby bitch Ben bullshit.
New Hope 4.5.
Okay.
Return of the Jedi 4.
Okay.
Empire 5.
Mm.
Empire to me is like Lord of the Rings caliber.
I think it's the same as you.
Okay.
Maybe reversed. I don't know. Star Wars proper.
Yeah.
Sorry, I should have said that.
Hashtag.
4.5. Empire 5. Jedi 4.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Same. You could say all 5s.
It's an average of 5 between the 3.
Well, I have a 20-point scale. You have every single decimal point.
I do.
Because I can't. Like, if we're gonna go by what your thing is,
we don't have
No, it's
I
you.
wouldn't
It's your
change
rating.
it. No,
It's
no,
your rating.
I'm basing it off him because
Oh,
I'm
I
really
see.
mad that I have to rate Star Wars. I have to rate my childhood.
Anger fuel you.
I am the Senate.
Okay, fine. Sith-like? No, because he's a Sith.
I know.
He only thinks in absolutes.
Absolutely.
He must rape everything.
Only Sith.
I know. I love that
absolutes.
line. Only Siths deal in absolutes.
I know.
You fight like a younger man. Oh wait, it's the wrong movie.
Yeah.
Admirable but
I-
mistaken.
Yeah, if I'm going to go by his scale of a 5 is nothing, there is nothing that I would want to change. There's nothing that I would want to change about
All
them.
5s across the board.
I would say
Good
5.
high five me.
There you go. There you go.
It was a weak high five, but it was
Because we
still
had
a
to
high
reach
five.
across an entire room.
That's how
with
Josh
the way.
fights the system.
Yeah,
That's totally fine.
yeah.
Right. I dig
Again,
it.
it's the points that don't matter. It's just I want to hear what everyone's opinion is, and I think we should open the floor for that.
Yeah.
That's true.
And so you
That's
can find
fine.
me at Corey89 on Instagram and at We Are Storyboard, BORED, or wearestoryboard.com.
Fight us and our empire.
Yeah.
Ollie, you can find me at FutureFoe on Twitter. You can find me at FutureFoe Plays on the YouTubes. Just search FutureFoe, you'll find it. You can find me on Blizzard. FutureFoe pound or hashtag as the kids call it these days. 11785.
These darn kids.
Darn kids and their hashtags. Do we feel complete?
I do. I feel good.
Do we feel good about this?
Yeah.
Are you still mad? You look kind
No,
of
he's
mad.
good.
He's good.
I'm always mad. That's my secret.
Oh,
How many
okay.
minutes are we at? I've had to pee for 87 minutes, guys.
Oh,
I just want to throw that out there.
to the dark side.
It'll get me
Anyway.
there.
Hey, this is for the holidays. Your
I know.
commute's gonna be a little bit longer. Listen to this shit on your way home to work.
Yeah. Everybody at home, thank you so much for listening. Seriously, all the ratings, the reviews, we wouldn't be here without you guys.
Love y'all.
May the force be with you.
And as always,
Nerd on.
Ending broadcast.